What's going on there, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I just wanted to go and talk about the new update, specifically kind of breaking down a little bit more on the new difficulty system that is going to be coming out in Star Wars The Old Republic's new 8.0 update. So if you are not familiar with this is a huge change that is going to be happening where Star Wars The Old Republic is going to be adding difficulty modes to be able to increase the difficulty while leveling, as well as provide some unique rewards. So we're going to first go ahead and we're going to talk about it. At first, there are going to be 3 new difficulties that are going to be available that you can use in the overworld while you're leveling and things like that. This is going to be something that is available to everybody, whether you're free to play, preferred, subscriber, doesn't matter. You will be able to utilize this. This will be something that you can change kind of whenever. However, it doesn't seem at this moment that there's not going to be any locking you to a difficulty. They haven't announced any unique rewards with this particular part of the difficulty, but we'll talk about where the unique rewards come in just a moment. So one thing to note with the difficulty settings as well, if you are in a group, your group members, if they are on a different difficulty, are not going to be affected. So if one person's playing on the easiest difficulty while another person's playing on the harder difficulties, the enemies will still hit you for that harder difficulty, but it won't hit your party members. So don't feel like that if you're grouping up with friends and maybe one of them is newer to the game and doesn't want a more difficult experience, but maybe you still do want that more difficult experience, you can both still have that within that area and still group together, still quest together, all that fun stuff, while still maintaining your own individual unique play style, which is something that I do genuinely think is a huge plus for this new game mode that is coming out. These difficulties are going to be something that are really going to allow players to play a lot more how they want. Especially for me, as somebody who's been playing Star Wars The Old Republic since Rise of the Hutt Cartel, it feels very weird to play on the current difficulty, but I'll talk about that as we kind of talk about each individual difficulties and what that looks like. One more thing before we get into the actual difficulties, the difficulty modes do not affect flashpoints, war zones, operations, or other instance content. So anything that you would do within an instance, war zone, operation, flashpoint, uprising, I think those are the only main instances out there. Those will not be affected by the difficulty changes. This won't be something, so you won't have to play a master mode flashpoint on an additional master difficulty. It will still all be the same. Your master operations will all be the same. I don't know how it will affect Knights of the Eternal Throne and Knights of the Fallen Empire, since those are kind of their own very unique instances. That hasn't been revealed just yet, but I would assume that because those are story-based content, those will still be affected by the difficulty changes, but we will get more information about that from the developers as we dive further in and get closer to the 8.0 update. So let's go ahead and let's talk about the 3 different difficulties. Okay, so the first difficulty that is out there is Story, which is the current game difficulty, which if you've been playing SWTOR recently, you know the game is very simple. The game is really easy. You can overlevel just by doing your main story. You don't have to worry about doing any side content, and it is going to be something that is very easy for players to get into. You can pretty much just go and obliterate everything and not have to worry, as long as you aren't making any real dumb decisions like trying to pull every single enemy in a region. It's really simple. Even with especially with a healer companion, you can pretty much blaze through the entire game. There's no changes to damage output, no changes to damage received, all of that kind of stuff. The second difficulty option is going to be Veteran. Veteran is a harder difficulty. The way that the developers have described it is that this is going to feel like the launch era, which for those people like me who played way back during the early days of the game was not really that easy. You had to do a decent amount of side questing. You had to do pretty much every single side quest that was out there. You had to do your heroics with a group, and it would still be pretty difficult. Heroics were kind of like the main group content, whereas now, unless you're running with a group for efficiency purpose, you can solo basically any heroic that's out there. But on Veteran difficulty, it's going to be a lot more difficult to do that. And then there is master difficulty. That's the final difficulty that's out there. Master difficulty is going to be the ultimate challenge. For those who are really wanting to get a really big difficulty spike and are really wanting the game to be difficult, you are going to want to play on master difficulty. It is something that if you are really wanting to go out there and make the game hard, that's the way to do it. It's going to be even more difficult than the veteran era. It is going to be absolutely brutal to get through the veteran difficulty mode. Or not veteran, master difficulty mode. It's going to be very difficult. Especially for solo players like me, it is going to provide the ultimate challenge for leveling, and I think that if you're really looking at doing something difficult, master mode is going to be the way that you are going to want to go. So let's go ahead then, and we're going to go ahead and talk about how this breaks down in terms of the damage and what that's going to look like. For the most part, your damage output is going to look the same. You're still going to be doing the same amount of damage. It is going to be impacting primarily how things affect you. So you will be receiving more damage, you will be receiving less healing, and you will be receiving less experience points. So if you are wanting to kind of speed run your way through leveling to maybe do more operations and do maybe more master level content, difficulty mode is not going to be the way that you're going to want to go. You're going to want to play on story mode. You're going to want to just do that. If you are wanting to get the sort of ultimate leveling experience, playing on veteran and master is going to be the way to go, because you are going to be spending more time leveling, and you're going to be required to do more side quests. You're going to be required to do more various parts of different areas of content to get those level ups and get that experience points. So that's going to be a big area with that. Again, just as a note, difficulty is a complete and utter personal preference. Just because you prefer to play on story mode does not mean that your playstyle is any less valid than anybody who is playing on master. Somebody might really want to take a really ridiculous class combination and play on master mode to be able to just really challenge themselves. Whereas somebody who's maybe really new to the game might just want to play story mode, or maybe they just don't really want to have to worry about having a lot of difficulty and they just want to play SWTOR to relax. It's totally fine. Play whatever difficulty that you want to play on. No matter what, you are completely and totally valid to play the game how you want to play the game. Nobody should tell you how you should enjoy your playstyle. Just play the game, have fun. SWTOR is a great game. This is a way that they're including more areas to appeal to other players. But if you like the way that the game is now, you can keep playing it that way on story mode, and you're totally fine. So the next thing that's going to be coming with this difficulty increase and things like that in the 8.0 update are going to be the ventures. Now, we don't have a ton of information as to what these ventures are. I might do just like my own little guide on the ventures as that comes up, so that way you guys can kind of get an idea as to what is going to be coming with that forward update for those ventures, so that way you guys are fully ready and prepared to go for when these come out. So basically how the ventures is going to be working is that they are going to be a specific and unique way to experience the older content within Star Wars: The Old Republic. Not only will you be playing through on these other difficulties, but you will also be having unique rewards and some other gameplay challenges and changes that will be happening. Whether there are unique side quests based on a drop that you might get that's unique to the ventures, that might be something that you will be doing. Or they might have other things where maybe certain enemies will be spawning and making things a little bit more difficult for you. They haven't really given a ton of detail as to what these are going to be. I'm very much like really excited to see where these are going to be going and kind of what these adventures are going to look like. I have always wanted to find new ways to experience leveling again in fun ways, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm weird with MMOs. I have yet to find an MMO that I genuinely have enjoyed the endgame experience on. Granted, I've only really gotten to endgame for a brief period of time in SWTOR, and I had a really bad experience, probably just because of some player stuff, but I'm not going to dive into that. I have a whole other video on that you can check out if you want. Just go ahead and go to my channel. There's a whole Star Wars: The Old Republic playlist for you to check out. So how this is going to be working is there are going to be two different types of ventures out there. There's going to be classic and expert. Well, the classic one will be on the veteran difficulty, which means that you will be playing through the game on the veteran difficulty or the launch era. That's the important part that goes there. It's not going to be super difficult, but it's not going to be the easy blaze through everything like you've experienced before. It is just going to be playing through on that. You'll have different venture rewards for each and every single individual origin story. That will be all, so for all 8 classes. So basically, you'll be getting legendary status 2 more times by completing all of these ventures if this is the route that you want to go. So that's something that is there and available for you. In terms of what the unique rewards are, again, we still don't quite have all of that information. There's going to be some other unique rewards that are going to come out, as well as more information about ventures. This is the part about 8.0 that I'm the most excited about, so I'll try and do my best to keep you guys updated as much as possible. And then there'll also be some rewards for like planetary arcs and heroics. So basically, you're going to be going through doing like every form of content that's available in the game, just continuing to blaze through those ventures and just really experiencing a lot of the parts of the game that, for especially some veteran players, probably haven't touched in a long period of time. Or if they have leveled the character, they might have just power leveled to 80 and not really focused on any of the content again. And now this kind of gives them an ability to be able to experience that again. Now, the other venture that is going to be out there is Master, which is where you'll be playing on that expert difficulty. So you'll be playing on the highest difficulty that's possible, and the game is going to be very difficult. You're going to be expected to do a lot more content, and on top of that, you might be expected to do some other additional things to make the ventures more unique, make them more interesting, make them more difficult, providing more unique rewards. Now, based on how the picture that was given during the dev live stream, I'm going to be anticipating, just based on this section right down here in the bottom, and I'll have it circled here for you, is that you are going to be getting some expert gear unlocks for playing on veteran mode. I don't know if this is actually what's going to be happening, but it really looks like that if you're going to want master mode to go as smoothly as you want it, that you are probably going to want to start with the veteran ventures, so that way when you get to master mode, you have an additional leg up to make it just slightly easier. I can't imagine it's going to be crazy easier because of just how the master mode is going to be catered. I expect it to kind of look very similar to that of, like, I don't know, like critical difficulty on like a Kingdom Hearts game or something. It's going to be a lot more difficult, going to require a lot more locking in, and just something that you're going to have to be ready for. So this is like a nice way to get that leg up. So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope that this really kind of helps you guys get a little bit more of an insight as to what the expert difficulties are going to look like, what the new difficulty modes are going to be, and kind of give you an idea to kind of start planning out how you play through them. I know for me personally, I'm trying to get my own main server up to legendary status, just so that way I've experienced all the class stories once before these adventures start, so I don't have to worry as much about cutscenes, and then we can really just focus on getting through those adventures and just enjoying that part of it and not having to also try and learn the stories at the same time. This is Post Zojalex here, coming at you with a quick little update because I forgot to mention this. If you are playing on the ventures for SWTOR, which are the specific things to get the unique rewards, you are required to be a subscriber to the game. So somebody who is not a free-to-play or preferred will not be able to do the ventures, but somebody who is a subscriber will have access to those. And then another note on top of that is if you are playing on these specific ventures, you are locked into those difficulties. On the main overworld, you can change difficulties however you want. So if Master proves to be more difficult or Veteran proves to be a little bit more difficult, you can change however you want. But on the ventures, you are going to be locked in. So make sure that I just want to make sure you guys know about that and you're aware of that before you jump into the ventures, so you can kind of give yourselves time to prepare. That's another reason why I would really recommend that when you're gearing and things like that, that you can just focus on the veteran one first to get all of the master rewards before you start your master venture. So that's pretty much that. Thanks for tuning in for this post Zojalex note. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, I do want to give a huge shout out to all my Ko-Fi supporters. You guys are the ones that help to make this channel possible. If you would like to support on Ko-Fi, you can do so down in the link in the description below. And with that, make sure you guys like the video and subscribe if you want to see more Star Wars: The Old Republic content, or just more MMO content in general, whether it's Star Wars: The Old Republic or Lord of the Rings Online. Those are my two main MMOs. But with that, you are loved, you are valued, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and we will see you right back here in the next one. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody.